Hello, my name is Max Drake. I'd like to talk about another way of visualizing condition on your assets, in this case using heat maps. I have talked about using maps to actually show those conditions. This one here I'm showing in a more tabular format. I have a website here showing some of that information, and the first examples that I'm going to be showing you are these links here, and there's some blog on how I actually do the process. On here is the first one of external elements of the property. So here we have the elements, and over here we have from 2016 to 2041. I actually manipulated the data so that I could get the condition for each particular year, for each particular element, using KNIME to do that. And here we actually have the first data set, and this is based on the base life of the standard base life of all of the elements, like the roof elements, the roof finish, external walls, external wall finishes, external doors, etc., etc. If we then maintain things well, we can extend the life of a lot of those elements. So we can say, well, if we look after the property well, we wash it down, we clean the leaves out of the gutter, we give the windows a wash, etc., etc., what will actually happen there? And you'll see that the top condition stays better for longer. If we actually come back and say, well, what happens if we start neglecting it and we don't do any work on it at all, and we just let it be, and then we do reactive maintenance when we need to? And you can see that suddenly the life of a lot of elements starts shortening down further. So in the case of maybe paint, a paint base life would be 10 years. If you neglected it, it might be down to 8 or 7. If you maintained it well, it might be 14 years before you actually had to repaint, but that would actually mean washing. That is just external details. Here we actually have the room plan, so we have the rooms and we have the photos on the outside, and we look on the left hand side. You see we've got the room data all the way down there, room 2, room 3, room 4, whatever information we've got, we've been able to display it onto there. You'll see room 1 is porch, so we actually hasn't been included in the inspection when they did that and obtained the data. So again, we can look at those items, and we can look on the fact that if we extend the life and look after it, this is what's going to happen with a lot of things. As long as it's cleaned and looked after well, it'll do well. If we neglect it, suddenly we've got to do maintenance a lot more, or come in and do interventions a lot more quickly, because things would be failing sooner. So in some ways, if you had a big asset property, big group of assets on properties, and you had good tenants and bad tenants, overall you'd actually have to use the average data base life of things, because some are going to be better maintained and other ones worse maintained. And in fact, when we were doing some of the inspections, you could see this quite clearly, as some tenants looked after their places beautifully, whereas other ones were a little bit negligent about it. So that's the information that we have. This particular style of showing this information, the one negativity that I found was, in fact, that if you look at the legend on conditions here, the condition 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are all equal, whereas in fact the condition that I was using for the data was 50%, and then condition 2 was another point, and condition 3 and condition 4 were elsewhere. This was the one difficulty I had with this, but I did quite like the fact that you could show longer and shorter base lives. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it's been informative.